Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. And this tonight, of course, is a Friday fry up. So this changes things up a little bit. Um, as you know, I've been doing the Thursday fry up for a long time now. But as you know, the main show, my Hogelish show, which of course many of you know and love, is now on Wednesdays. And then of course having the Thursday fry up, I feel like it is a bit close. I don't know. I might stick to Fridays. Let's see how we do. Also as well. So we're going to be talking about the Pope, and then I'm going to be taking your questions as well after we discuss. And of course, for those just in case for those who may not know, America has its first. Well, they say first American Pope. Now, of course, we know Pope Francis was from Argentina. So technically, of course, that is the Americas, of course. Everyone knows that. But I think this is the first North American Pope. Yeah, he was born in Chicago and then became a citizen of Peru, if I remember correctly. And he has dual citizenship. So what I did was I pulled up his chart and I was like, oh my God, it's just so obvious that why he was selected, and particularly why at this time. But I also as well, before we kind of get into that, but put your hand up if you are just feeling exhausted, absolutely exhausted with the deluge and barrage of constant news. It's just news, 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 news. Everything is dramatic. Everything is life-threatening or over the top. It's just, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but this week, I mean, it's not going to happen. Of course, it's not going to happen, particularly with Duck L'Orange in the White House. And his main modus operandi is to flood the zone. Yeah, Steve Bannon, just give people constant news, constant outrage to cause overwhelm. But there's really part of me, let me know in the comments if you feel the same, where I'm just like, oh, for heaven's sake, can we just have a normal-ish week where something epic is just not happening? It's like back to back. There is this kind of scandal that's going on. Now we've got India versus Pakistan, bombing each other. The Ukraine situation, of course, is still going on. Then we've got the tariffs and no ships coming, and then people getting laid off. There's not going to be, issues with food. Then the Pope dies. Yeah, bless him. Pope Francis dies, and now we have an American Pope. And you and I'm not laughing at, it's a laugh of fatigue. You know the one where you're just overwhelmed and you're just a bit tired and you're just like, I just think we all just need a break. This is just too much, isn't it, guys? It's just bonkers. The world is just going absolutely bonkers. Anyway, so with the Pope, do you remember I was talking about, I said Uranus is on the star Algol. I said it's going to be a surprise. It's going to be someone that no one's expecting. And, there we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. But this is what Uranus brings. Uranus is the planet of sudden shocks and surprises. And as you know, I've been saying for ages that it's on the star Algol. The star Algol is what? The star of betrayal, backstabbings, people being deposed or being moved or new. Actually, believe it or not, there are some positives with the star. It does deal with fame. Well, it depends how you interpret fame. It can deal with fame or infamy. So you can also have people that rise to power who become famous overnight. Yeah, new Pope. But it's all of this shocks and surprises. It's just never ending because, of course, Uranus is a slower moving planet. I think in June, I think around the middle of June, Uranus's orb with Algol starts to move off. But I think it really has to get beyond 5 degrees for things to calm down a little bit. Now I'm just seeing, Look, Galactic Gale has just said this. ICE arresting the mayor of Newark is letting us know that they think that they rule over us. So let me get this right. So the mayor of Newark has just been arrested by ICE. Am I processing that right? Oh my God. Let me just see if there's more evidence. And saying hello, Hogarth and community. Let me just see. Someone still, what's this? What? And then someone says, Gail Anders says, then the Russian space thing fell out of the sky today. I mean, you can't turn your face away from anything for 10 minutes. But you know what this Pluto in Capricorn is about? You know, I've been going on about this ad nauseum. But when Pluto transits a sign, it often, whatever that sign is associated with, will break down. Pluto is the planet of breaking things down, everything burning down, and then the phoenix rising out of the ashes. It's in sidereal Capricorn, which deals with government, infrastructure of all kinds. What's this? I can't believe with all the turmoil Trump has stirred up that his entire life, and now with us in the world, he is able to live this long. Yeah. Kaylee says we've had 10 years in the past few weeks. Uranus is on steroids, says Angela. Yeah, it really is, because that star Algol, it's a binary star. This star is infamous. It's been known for millennia to be a very treacherous, difficult star. It's one of the most difficult ones. It really is. And of course, because Uranus is a slow-moving planet, he's basically gone over it, retrograded over it. Even when he was retrograde and he was still in sidereal Aries, he was still conjunct because he was at 29 degrees of sidereal Aries. Now he's passing over the star, but he's still within orb of 5 degrees. It's only like 2 degrees off or something. Any road, right, goodness. So when Katie says we've had 10 years in the last few years, there is a guy who said it. Was it Stalin? He said there are years that go by where nothing happens. Yeah. And he says there are days that can go by where years happen. And I think we're in one of those things. Right. So let's just Angela's saying, yes, it feels awful now. I'm just sick of it. Patricia says, I've pulled back a lot of my own sanity. Yeah. And then Cheryl Nash will say, I'm very sick of the news too. Most of it is just bullshit. Yeah, it's true. It's some propaganda and lying and not telling the truth. Valerie's saying exhausted, and all the bad news as well. Well, the new Pope seems good. I like the analogy of DT being like a fire hose with a broken nozzle. Some good news would be so welcome. We'll all be on tired. So let's look into this. Let's look into this American Pope. He has a remarkable chart. It is fascinating. I'm going to share my screen with you. Let's dive in, and then also as well get your questions for me ready as well. If you've got any questions, we'll pull some tarot and all that stuff on that, and then we'll finish up. We will finish up once we've been going for about an hour. So let's do entire screen, and let's share. And let's get, hopefully I've still got his chart up here. Yes, I have. So here we are, folks. Hope you can see the chart. Here we are, Pope Francis now. Pope Francis was born on the 14th of September, 1955. Now, we don't have an accurate birth time for, did I say Pope Francis? Sorry, Robert Francis, yeah? Robert Francis Prevost, pardon me, who is now Pope Leo XIV. Was born 14th of September 1955. Now, we don't have a time now, but however, when it comes to prominent people in particular, you pick midday. First of all, of course, midday is the halfway through the 24-hour cycle, so it evens things up on both sides. But very often, a lot of very prominent world figures are often born around midday. So from 11 a.m. roughly to around about 1 p.m. the sun is going to be in a high house. which can also talk about prominent figures. So let's just dive in. And what makes his chart so remarkable? Now, what I find fascinating, and I just burst out laughing in a way when I saw his chart, because he's taken the name Pope Leo. Yeah, Pope Leo. And I think someone was telling me they're now referring to him as the workers' pope and stuff like that. And it's being said that apparently he wants to carry on in the same vein as Pope Francis. So that's probably a good thing. Now, if you will look here, you will see here is the sun. Now, of course, remember, I'm a Neo-Vedic astrologer. So in Western tropical, he would be a Virgo. Yeah, he'll be a Virgo. But remember, Leo is literally the sign of leadership. It deals with kings primarily, can be queens as well, but that's mainly the sign of Cancer, which belongs to the moon, who is the queen of the chart. But kings and queens, but kings especially. Yeah, Leo deals with that. It deals with leaders, CEOs. They could be female as well, like Christine Lagarde will be a good example of someone who's like got that Leo energy. She's female, but she's a leader, you know, what have you. But it deals with leaders of all kinds. And if you look here, Pope Leo is what I would refer to as a fully embodied Leo. Why do I say that? It's because he's got at least one planet in each nakshatra of Leo. So it means it's fully embodied. Yeah. I'm a Cancer rising, as many of you will know, in Vedic astrology. But I've got 3 planets in Leo. Leo is actually one of my strongest signs. Surprise, surprise, you know, big show off here. It's funny, Leos could be shy and show offs. But I've got 3 planets, but one is in each of the nakshatras of Leo. And Pope, if you see here, we look, Pope Leo has got Pluto at 4 degrees of sidereal Leo. This is very important. Then he's got the moon here, and then he's which is also in the early degrees, and both are conjunct the star Regulus. Do you remember, I'm always talking about this star Regulus? Regulus sits in the heart of the lion. It deals with leadership. Degrasse, as we know, also has his ascendant and the sun and Mars here as well. But Pope Leo has literally got 2 planets either side that star. So he's powerful as well. But to add to that, he's also got Mars there in Purva Falguni, and he's got the sun in Uttara Falguni. So what this really kind of talks a lot about what Pope Leo is here for. He was born literally to be a leader. Yeah, to be a leader. And I've got, what did I do with my notes on Pope Leo? Oh, I've probably left this chart in the scanner. Here we are, because I shared the chart with my membership. So here's his chart here, and I've made some notes just to make sure that I don't forget. So now the star Regulus goes from 4 to 6 degrees of sidereal Leo, and we count like an orb of 3 degrees or less to be a strong hit. So the closer in degree a planet is to that star, the more it has the energy of that star. And you'll see here, his Pluto is at 4 degrees, precisely on the star Regulus in the heart of the lion. And then his moon is at 8 degrees. So it's just the other side of the star. It goes from 4 to 6. So both these planets are, we know the moon is a satellite, but we say planets in astrology. Both these planets are basically exactly conjunct the star, which is boosting that star Regulus, which is the star of kings. Of course, he is Pope, but he is effectively a king of the church. Yeah, it is. It's basically, it's royal. Yeah, because, you know, there's a throne, there's a tiara, etc. It deals with that lineage. Of course, it's not familial, like you're not born into Pope. They have to vote, but it is a kingdom or principality, really, in many ways, particularly the Vatican. It's its own state. So it does deal a lot, even though we're talking about the Catholic Church, it also deals with royalty, lineage. And this is what the Nakshatra Maga is all about. MGHA, yeah, as in the Sanskrit, yeah. So what does this talk about? This is assuming that this birth time is right. Now we don't know for sure. This will give him a Scorpio rising. Yeah, he'll be a Scorpio rising. Now Scorpio does have a lot to do with politics. This is what I found, yeah. And leadership and powerful people. Even if this ascendant is not correct, it doesn't matter. He has his Rahu in Scorpio. You'll also see K2 is here on the opposite side. And you notice here how all the planets are on one side of the nodes of the moon. This is referred to as a Kala Sarpa Yoga. It means a time serpent yoga. This happens when the planets are all one side of the nodes of the moon. And it means they are essentially captured. And what it does is it gives an extraordinary life. It means the person is here to live a very unusual life. It's not a conventional life. Yeah. And of course, being Pope is one of the most rarefied and unusual jobs that you can do. The nodes of the moon, Rahu and Ketu, are also known as kingmakers. Something that is also remarkable as well is that Duck L'Orange, Trump, yes, he has a Kala Sarpa Yoga. All of the planets are on one side of the nodes of the moon as well for him too. And look at the extraordinary ups and downs in his life. Yeah. We now know, and do you remember I was saying months ago, I said, it's like the Mad King in reverse. Do you remember me saying that? I said, guys, it's like the Mad King in reverse. And now people have started, you know, using that phrase because really it is. So it deals with extraordinary highs and lows. So Pope Leo would have had a lot of ups and downs in his life. Yeah. He obviously wasn't a public figure, world famous, as he is now, yeah, because of course, when he was cardinal, people would have known about him, but we were not talking about, you know, Robert Francis Prevost, were we, until he became Pope. So this Kala Sarpa Yoga is like being on a roller coaster. It can mean very, very deep lows, but that you always come back higher after a period of being down. And it doesn't get bigger than that, does it, being Pope? So here, but this is a very interesting combination because the Pluto intensifies everything. I remember someone telling me once that Pluto is like a steroid. Yeah. And this Pluto is on the star Regulus. Now, Pluto deals with how we transform. Yeah. Pluto also deals with the collective unconscious. Pluto also deals with the collective traumas. Yeah. This is really what it deals with. And it's also, the moon is also here as well. And what I've found is whatever planet is in Magha Nakshatra, the deities here deal with the ancestors. And whatever planet that planet represents, it can show how the ancestors are influencing that person's life. And also what role they have designated to that person to either continue or complete something they weren't able to do in their lifetimes. So for Pope Leo, we see here it's the moon. And that deals with the maternal line. It deals with the mother, but also the grandmother and all of that stuff. So this tells me as well, his female line are very powerful, very influential. I also say when the moon is in Leo, she's got a crown on her head. But when the moon is with Pluto, it can intensify the relationship with the mother or the grandmother. Sometimes it can be too intense even. There can be that. But it can also speak as well about traumas in the female lineage and line. But this can also be a lot to do with helping women as well. Because Pope Leo, him coming up to as Pope now is actually really, really important. Because he's got Pluto exactly on the star Regulus, it means part of his sole purpose is to transform, perform alchemy, work on the collective traumas in a way, particularly for women. Yeah. But it also means he has to use that role of leadership to transform really the world. Yeah. because Pluto is major transformation. He may be the furthest planet out. He may be tiny, but he's extremely powerful. If we look here as well, like Duck L'Orange, but at a different degree, he also has Mars in Leo. So this Pope actually has a lot of energy. This Pope is not to be underestimated. He has a lot of energy, has a lot of strength within him, and he also has a lot of creativity as well, because this Mars is in the nakshatra called Purva Falguni, which is one of the most creative nakshatras there is. It has a lot to do with artists, performers, musicians, presenters, speakers. So this is actually a role that actually suits him very well. He can live with the grandeur, as it were, of being of the papacy. Yeah, he has it in him to perform. And here we also have the sun as well. So he is a quadruple Leo, quadruple. Sun and Mars are friends. However, they say Mars pokes whatever planet it's with. So he may have also had quite a brother, may have also been very significant in his life if he has brothers. I don't know his backstory. One of the brothers may have even been domineering, but what I found is this: when Mars is in Leo, it tends to give quite good siblings overall. This is all happening what in his 10th house of career, name and fame. If we look here, we can see his humble roots, yeah, or his humility, because his Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. Saturn is the planet of service, particularly when he's in the sign of Libra. So it means he wants to serve everyone equally, fairly. Yeah, Libra is the sign of what? Balance. This is where Saturn exalts. So it means his sense of duty and responsibility to humanity is immense. He may even put too much pressure on himself. But as we've seen with his tweets that have emerged previously, that he, very critical, J.D. Vance and the regime, quite rightly. So it seems like, he has this sense of wanting to help the underdog. Yeah, when Saturn is exalted, very much those people want to help the underdog. And from all accounts, from what I understand, particularly while he's in Peru, he spent a lot of time with the poor and all of this stuff. So I think he's walking the talk. It's also there with Neptune. Neptune is the great dissolver, yeah, but it's a very spiritual planet. And in this combination, Saturn being rules, regulations, but also things solid and structure, Neptune being diffuse, idealistic, spiritual, imaginative, creative. And this combination in the positive, it can mean that a person can quite literally manifest their dreams. Neptune is the planet of dreams. Saturn is the planet of reality. Yeah, so there's a kind of a practical, hands-on spirituality to this man, and a lot of backbone and a lot of steel. Saturn is the planet of greatness, after all, and it's the planet of backbone, but it's not grazed in an ostentatious way, in a papal way. No, Saturn is a very humble planet as well. It's about humble greatness, the greatness that comes from within, that comes from experience, that comes from surviving struggle and hardship. Yeah, so you see he's got this strong. It's also turning up in the 12th house, and I think there's a good chance this ascendant could be correct, because the 12th house are referred to as the land of far, far away. And what I found is anyone who has got planets in the 12th house in either their D1 or their D9 will live abroad in their lifetime, or will travel to far away lands. He grew up, was born in America, of course, went to Peru, fell in love with Peru, and has stayed there for many years, long enough to become a citizen. So he's an international person. He's probably traveled the world. Yeah. One of the things that I think is most remarkable is in terms of the Dasha sequence. You've heard me talk about Dasha sequence, this timing, yeah, when planets take effect. Excuse me, I'm just having my herbal tea, my sleep tea. Got to wake up earlier tomorrow, and I've been watching too much news. Anyway, here is his Jupiter. Yeah. Now, what is Jupiter? Jupiter, the Sanskrit name for Jupiter is Guru. It deals with the significant men in our life. For women, heterosexual women, it literally deals with the husband, quite literally the husband. Can also be secondary characteristics of the father. Jupiter becomes exalted in the sign of Cancer, yeah, which is here. So he has an exalted Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of generosity, beneficence, wisdom, spirituality, knowledge, expansion, optimism, virtue. And when Jupiter is strong, it brings out those qualities more in a person. This exalted Jupiter is also happening in the 9th house, which deals with what? Spirituality, travel, and religion. Is it any wonder? That's what you would want, wasn't it? A pope, ideally, to have an exalted Jupiter. It means that he has tremendous faith, spirituality, hope within him, but he is also interested in virtue, justice. Because in many ways, when Jupiter's strong, he's the virtue planet, yeah? Can bring those qualities out. But look, you see here, it's with Uranus, which is what? Sudden shocks and surprises. Also, it deals with what? Social media, the sciences, AI, stuff like that. So we could see that this Pope may actually try and have quite a modernizing influence as well on the papacy, on the church. I mean, we already know he uses social media, but there may be things that he will do, innovations he will come up with that will be quite quirky and unexpected. Yeah. But this Jupiter, but this Uranus is also being grounded, yeah, being grounded by this exalted Jupiter. His Jupiter is also in the nakshatra Aslesha, which is also the sign of the mystics. Aslesha, the deities here are the Sarpa, the serpents. It talks about Kundalini energy, but not in that wicked kind of sense, which it's been tarnished with in the West. This is the Kundalini. This is the energy of enlightenment, yeah, where that snaking, yeah, that energy, because the serpent is about what? Wisdom, knowledge. It also deals with the occult. So there's much here. There's a lot more to Pope Leo than meets the eye. He may seem like quite a plain, humble man. There's a lot more going on. He is very, extremely knowledgeable. And he doesn't know just about the church as well. He'll know about other arts as well. Yeah, we know there's quite a few grimoires, you know, stored in the Vatican. I'm sure he's had a little leaf through, because this is what this nakshatra is about. It's about going to the depths. It's a very, very spiritual, mystic nakshatra. Yeah. So we see all of that here also as well. If we look here, he does have a debilitated Venus, because his Venus is in Virgo, where she debilitates. However, his Venus is with Mercury, her best friend, and technically his Mercury is exalted as well. Yeah, he has 3 exalted planets. So much of the debilitation of this Venus is cancelled out. He would have had some issues in relationships. Venus is the planet of relationships. When she's debilitated, it can cause problems there. But of course, that's probably also as well what's contributed to him obviously joining the church, etc., and stuff like that. Does give one a tremendous attention to detail, though. It's very good for attention to detail, design, those kind of things, discernment, yeah, if used well. But particularly this Venus is being boosted by an exalted Mercury. So all in all, he has an extremely powerful chart. As popes go, he is relatively young. He's only 69 from what I understand, which is quite young for a pope, yeah? So he should be around for a while. He is, of course, not afraid to speak up and speak out. He's already let everyone know what he thinks of the regime, the USA regime. And what I would hope is, and just to talk as well, sorry, about he's got his Ceres, which is the goddess of harvest, fruits, vegetables, in the 2nd house, which also deals with food, learning, education, family. So he's very much into nurturing, helping things grow. And his Chiron here is in the 3rd house. Chiron is where we potentially received a wound in life, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, or financial. But the 3rd house also deals with siblings. So there may be some intensity or with one of the siblings, particularly if he has a brother. Yeah, the brother may be wounded in some way, or one of the siblings was, or was afflicted, or had an issue with their mental health or something like that, potentially. But it also shows where one could potentially heal as well. And the third house deals with communication and media of all kinds. So I think he's going to be saying some very interesting things. Let's see what some of your questions are. I hope you found that presentation interesting. And but he's a special one. Yeah, he's a special one. Dorothy says, thank you, fantastic as always. Oh, you know what's been interesting is that even the atheists have been saying, you know what, I hope this Pope does well. I think the world feels in such peril, doesn't it? We just need some voice of virtue, someone of gravitas giving some pushback. And one of the things that I like about him being an American Pope is that it's going to be harder to dismiss him in the sense of when he comments on US politics, because he is an American. And let's not forget, J.D. Vance did a Liz Truss, as we know. He went to visit the Pope, Pope Francis, then Pope Francis died, probably from disgust. And then, of course, we saw Duc Larange masquerading as Pope with that AI-generated image. But I think it's also important to say we have to see how this papacy goes, because a lot of these funders of Project 2025 are also the Opus Dei set as well. It's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see how that works. Yeah, to see how much they try to influence him, because of course they will try. Of course they will. But also as well, how much he may influence them. It's going to be an interesting, I think it's going to be a tug of war. I don't think it's going to be an easy relationship. But if there's one thing that I'm reasonably comfortable or confident is that there's a good chance that this Pope will outlast Duc Larange. Yeah. And let's see here. Someone's saying, yes, he was protesting the Pope. Let's see here. Look at this. Sophia. Oh, wait, or maybe that was referring to the person that was arrested. Today, a mayor gets arrested at a protest in front of an ICE facility in Newark, New Jersey. Our airport in Newark, New Jersey also is not functioning correctly. Oh, God. It's just diabolical, isn't it? Diabolical. You know, we said it before, but, you know, everyone was warned. Don't vote for Trump. Yeah, don't do it. It's not going to work. And they didn't listen. And look at the state of the world. Just look. Now we've got mayor. Like, am I reading this right? A mayor has been arrested at a protest. It's just disgraceful, isn't it? It's, oh, God. What's this? Laurie Esmore saying they're now threatening to remove habeas corpus. Habeas, what does that mean? Is something death, or does it mean you can't? Is that double jeopardy, or am I getting that wrong? Corpus, obviously, it means dying or death or something. If you could explain to me what that is, sorry. Oh, okay. Celtic Sheila is here. Hey, Sheila. Hello. I didn't see you. Let's see. Sabrina says, do you see any of the ICE members being held accountable and being put away? Oh, I don't know. I don't know, because really this is a lawless regime, isn't it? So it's lawless. It's lawless. But let's pull some cards on ICE. See if there is any accountability, but it would for me, my opinion is that for any of these people to be held accountable, you need a different regime. Trump's not going to do it. They're his minions. J.D. Vance is not going to do it. The whole regime is corrupt, and they've got a whole bunch of nutbags there. But let's just read. What's the energy of ICE? What's going on with ICE? Now this mayor has been arrested. And as you guys know, I predicted, I've said to you guys again, not to spook you, as you know, not to spook you. But, you know, I said, I see the United States will split up. Yeah. I said that great or rude awakening is happening in the 4th house, homeland security, the homeland, major changes in the homeland. Oh, at some point there is going to be no choice. I thought it would be the red states that would leave the union first, but I think it might actually be the blue ones. And I know people are going to say it's illegal, it's not possible. Trust me, the way things are going, people are going to change the rules. They are. They're going to change the rules, because this is just mayors being arrested now. Remember, US citizens can now be deported. So what? Any dissenter, off to the gulag with you. El Salvador or Alcatraz. Do you remember I said how America is living through Trump's dark fantasies? Oh, this is why, you know, I sometimes, you know, ration myself off the news. I'm going to be off the news tomorrow as well, because I just, oh my God, you wouldn't believe these. You wouldn't believe these cards. Wow. Okay, so remember, this is an energetic read on ICE. Look at this. 3 of Swords. Misery, heartache, a sense of betrayal. Yeah, things not working out. Especially those people that voted for you-know-who and are now deported. Yeah, a lot of those people deported don't even have criminal records. But this is the energy around ICE. They are causing a lot of heartache, obviously. Yeah. Look at the next card. The Devil. They're evil. It's corrupt. A lot of them wear masks. There's no accountability. They could just be any old hoodlums off the street, dragging people out of courtrooms, dragging people off the street. It's kidnapping. Really, it's kidnapping. But look, you can see here. If you look, we have the Tower. Yeah. Shocks, surprises. This is also my card for Uranus. And I think what this has done is this has really shocked a lot of people. I think it's shocked the foundation. Let's not forget as well, there is a crown here that is being shot off the roof. So this can also talk about upheavals in leadership. You know, this has come from the top to the bottom, really, hasn't it? I mean, it's Duc L'Orange and his regime. But this is also talking about how ICE has upended people's lives. This shocking quality, not following the rule of law. Yeah, there's that. Because this is their energy. Part of what this is about is to do this to people. Unsettle them, yeah, shock them. Pardon me, but who's backing this? Look at this. King of Pentacles. Let me drink a bit more of my tea, sorry. Which is also another card for Duc L'Orange, but it's not just that. It's also talking about the big money. Yeah, the big money is supporting this. They want to terrify everyone. But if there's one crumb of goodness here, look, we have the Temperance card, which is a card of moderation, balancing things out. We'll have to see. I think this is their rationale. I think the people that are working for ICE, this is what they're telling themselves. We're balancing it out. Yeah, we're balancing it out. Or that could be the rhetoric. Yeah, from those in power and the wealthy. They see this as a balancing out. But the way the world is, this is how Americans are experiencing it. And not just Americans, yeah? International people, they've been held by ICE as well. But it is deeply, deeply corrupt. Deeply corrupt. And illegal. Well, now they've legalized deporting American citizens, but Yeah, it's about the money. It's about money. It's about the wealthy. Yeah, it's about the wealthy having their way, scaring the smaller man and woman. Yeah. Oh, any more questions? God, what time do we live in? I'm going to try and sleep well tonight. I'm going to try not to watch too much news. Let's have a look here. Oh, here we are. All right. So Pamela Thane says, yeah, Stephen Miller. Oh, that horrible man. He's just, oh, he's so vile. Stephen Miller just said that they are looking at suspending, yeah, habeas corpus, which is used to challenge the legality of a person's detention. Wow. Like, because this is what they want. Like, look at those cards that I just got. Yeah. 3 of Swords, the Devil card, and the Tower. They want to terrorize everyone. This is what this is about. They want to terrorize everyone. They want to lock people up and throw away the key. This is why they're challenging that. Yeah, this habeas corpus. That's why they're challenging it, because they want you to be able to lock you up forever and bye-bye. Roxanne says, oh, nice. I thought I was late. Hello, Hogarth and everyone. Which is so nice. Sheila is here somewhere in the chat, but I can't see her tab. Old Silver said he sounds pretty incredible. I knew he was going to be a priest in grade school. Wow. Yeah, there you are. And his destiny. Oh, I forgot to say he's in his Jupiter dasher. So I just have to show you this bit. 1 minute. I've just got to share again, because that was one of the most important things I wanted to say about, you know, guys, the dasher sequence, which is this timing sequence when certain planets in our life take control. If you look down here, you see here where it says J-U-M-E. Yeah, J-U. J-U stands for Jupiter. And as you guys will know, Duck L'Orange is also in a Jupiter dasher as well. The Jupiter dasher can be a very lucky one, whether the person is good or evil. Doesn't matter. It's generally considered a lucky dasher, unless your Jupiter is very afflicted. But it can also deal when a person comes to prominence and leadership. Now, what is remarkable, when Duck L'Orange came to power the first time, when he was up against Hillary, and this is why the Vedic astrologers could see that Trump was probably going to win in 2016, is because he just entered his Jupiter dasher at that time. And he does have a strong chart. It's an evil chart, but it's still powerful. Here, you see here where it says J-U-M-E. J-U-M-E. So what it means is, because he's in Jupiter's dasher, it means Jupiter is kind of guiding his life. You know, I use the analogies of the car. He's in the back seat of Jupiter's car. When we start a new dasher, it's always that planet driving that car. You're strapped into the back seat. But then after a period of time, another planet gets into the front seat and starts driving. And that is the sub-period, or the Bhukti. So he is in Jupiter, Mercury. So his soul is in the back seat of Jupiter's car and Mercury is driving. So how does that work? Well, his Jupiter, of course, is exalted. So he's in one of the most powerful cars spiritually that he can be in right now. And his Jupiter is where? In the 9th house, if this is correct. 9th house, religion, as I've explained. I don't want to keep repeating myself. It means his 9th house is activated because Jupiter is sitting there, but Uranus is also activated. It was a shock. It was a surprise. But Mercury is driving the car. So we need to look at the houses that Mercury rules. And Jupiter rules the 5th house, by the way, and the 2nd house. Yeah, for all Scorpios, if this is correct. And of course, you know, those are both very spiritual signs. Now, his Mercury sits in Virgo. Mercury is the only planet considered to be exalted in its own sign. So the driver of the car is also exalted. And it is the ruler of the 8th house and the 11th house. The 8th house deals with transformations, sudden transformations, can deal with shocks and surprises as well. And the 11th house deals with friends, network, great gains. It also deals with wish fulfillment and big dreams. can be your biggest dreams come true. If we look here with the Jupiter Mercury, he went into that time period. It started on the 30th of January 2024. So that means that energy was building in his chart for him to become Pope. Sadly, Pope Francis, we lost Pope Francis soon after the Great Awakening eclipse, you know, that I was talking about on the 29th of March. Yeah, the energies. Pope Francis was able to hold on, of course, until Easter. But his star was already rising without us even knowing it. He was destined to be Pope, and I think he'll be a good one. He will certainly be a powerful Pope. It's not going to be easy for the regime to push him around. No, not with this much strength in Leo and this exalted Jupiter. And he's in this Jupiter Dasher, which lasts for 16 years. He won't be out of his Jupiter Dasher. He'll go into Saturn until the 31st of May, 2035. Yeah. So he is in a very auspicious time in his life. So I just wanted to put that bit in there. Let's see what other questions you have before I totter off. What world we're in. Lavanga says, I love that he picked Leo for a name even before I looked at his chart. Amazing that he has planets in Maga. He's the antidote to Maga. Yes, it seems like Spirit is working to bring us someone that is at least a counterbalance, but he's not afraid. I think he's going to use his platform. I think he is. Aha. Lorraine says, I don't drink. I have 4 bottles of champagne in my fridge still, waiting to be popped. Anyone else so ready for the beginning of the great news? Well, maybe pop one. Maybe have a slurp for Pope Leo. Yeah. Oh, there's almost 700 of you here right now. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe, and because it really helps the channel and it's much appreciated. Thank you, Maddie, so much for your donation. Someone's saying, Talon saying, Mayor of New Jersey. Do you mean governor? There is no mayor of an entire state. Oh my God, so it's the governor. See, that's even more profound. Wow. Old Silver saying, Rita, talk about perfection in timing. Yeah, you can't make it up. When I saw his chart, I was like, couldn't believe it. Hogarth, I can't get the like button to turn on. Anyone else having this problem? Someone else mentioned that actually, that they've not been able to like my videos. Could it be, certain forces, yeah, trying to suppress things? Let's see here. Roxanne says, Leo is a Leo. He looks so much like Pope Leo XIII. He does. Yeah, I had to have a double take, actually. I thought the same. And I wonder if it would be his reincarnation. Well, he still would have been alive. Of course, he would have already been born while Pope Leo XIII was still alive. So unlikely, but he has that energy, doesn't he? He has that energy. Let's just see here. Lily Rose saying, when he was a kid, he used to play that he was the Pope. So it sounds like he always knew he was going to be a Pope. Yes, it was destined. With a chart like that, exalted Jupiter in the 9th house, 4 planets in Leo, including the Sun and the Moon, and Pluto and Mars. Kala Sarpa Yoga. Yeah, it means to live an extraordinary life. He was destined. And the nodes of the moon are also known as kingmakers as well. And they factor a lot with coronations and popes. They really do. Let's see here. Okay. Pope Francis only made him look at this. Pope Francis only made him a cardinal a couple of years ago, but he made him the top tier cardinal at that time. Yeah, because he has it. He's just born for it. Talon Young says, I love this detailed astrology lesson. Thank you. I like it. Every once in a while we get together, isn't it? We dig in. We have a good old dig and take a look at these charts. Lavanga says, I have Kala Sarpa Yoga in my natal chart. Yes. And then someone's saying, so interesting. Love it. And then Chris Cool says the Pope is both the religious pontiff and political leader in charge of all three branches of the country called the Vatican, also known as the Bishop of Rome. Yes, so it's a very complex role. Oh, he has two brothers, I'm being told. Oh, yeah, he's got a brother. Interview online. Okay, so he has a brother, and then other people saying he's got two brothers. Yes. So they've probably been a big influence on his life as well. Talon Young says, all popes must work within the environmental choices, powers, and such as so many others of power and influence, as well as a variety of mass cultures, not all powerful. Of course, I'm not saying that he's all powerful to rule the world. What I'm saying, he has an extremely powerful chart. He's probably going to be an even more influential pope than we're used to, because he's just born for it. And like everyone was confirming in the chat, thank you so much, that he even imagined, he played at being pope when he was a child. He was born for it. You can see it in his chart. It's incredible. So let's see here. Mia says, I hope he's a new age Catholic pope. Yes, he could be with that Uranus. Remember, Uranus is the new age as well, conjunct that Jupiter, and he's in his Jupiter dasher, which means that Uranus is activated as well. Uranus is also the co-ruler of Aquarius, which deals with humanity, and we know he's very humanitarian. So let's hope. Yeah, this is what we need. Even the atheists are like, we need something. We need something. Here we are. Tori is saying the new pope is from St. Augustine order that serves the poor and farmers. Yes. Someone says, Suzanne says, I was disappointed because I heard American Cardinal was very maga, but it was a different father. Yes. And then Sharon says, I'm not Catholic, but I wish Pope Leo well. I think the whole world is. The whole world. Here we are. More detail here. Ernie's mom says, a writ of habeas corpus generally is a judicial order forcing law enforcement authorities to produce a prisoner they are holding and to justify the prisoner's continued confinement. Thank you, guys. You guys are so intelligent. You always know the answers, and I love it because I learn so much from you guys as well. And I love it when we're together, where it's just us, isn't it? Going through the charts, analyzing things. Any questions for me? Let me know. Here's one. This is a good one. 754 of you right now. Thank you so much, everyone. Carly, brave question. Will we have an election in 2026? All right, guys. Shall we go there? Shall we go there? Yeah, it's a brave question. Let's go there. Let's go there. So, of course, that would be in reference to the midterms. Also, as well, let's not forget that those midterms, assuming they happen, I'm a bit worried, but this will also coincide with America becoming exactly 250 years old. I mean, it's just, the universe just piles it on, isn't it? Us human beings. I think about humanity a lot, you know. I really do. I think about humanity a lot. I should let you know, before I read, Ibiza. You're probably thinking, why is he talking about Ibiza? I'm going to be doing retreats, astrology retreats and other events. I've reconnected with an old dear friend of mine, and the serendipity has been astonishing. And we're working together. We've got it's going to be fabulous. So on the 19th to the 23rd of May, I'm going to be in Ibiza, and we're going to be looking at locations and stuff like that. Because, as you know, I'm here for the planets, really. This is why I'm here. It's why I'm here on Earth. I've got planets conjunct the star Regulus as well. I really have come to believe I'm here for this star. So many of my clients have planets conjunct that star. And it's to provide that pushback, to give that alternative, to give inspiration. We need to look after Gaia. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm not talking about you guys. You guys know that. But I just mean collectively. There's so many people, too many people in the world that don't care about Mother Earth, about Gaia, about humanity, about our future. And so many of those douchebags are in that administration, trying to accelerate things, make it worse. However, as Gandhi says, be the change that you wish to see in the world. So that's part of why I started this channel, and I'll be taking that further. So there'll be more stuff to, if you guys want to join me in Ibiza. The main retreats are probably going to be in the fall, but we're going to be doing some little events. But watch this space. And I'm more motivated than ever to bring this knowledge to people so that we can all evolve. Yeah, we can keep evolving and growing, because that's the only antidote to this, is to give a better vision to all this darkness, something else that people can vote for. Such a shame that so many did vote for Duck L'Orange and so many didn't vote. But, you know, we also have to keep going forward, stay with the light, keep fighting for the light. And the light always wins in the end. But we have these dark moments, these contrasts to wake us up. Yeah, wake us up. All right, so 2026. God, I got on my soapbox there. Maybe it's because of this new Pope and all that Leo energy he has. He's strong. He's strong. All right. Will there be elections in 2026? Big question, huh? Let's see what the cards say. I know that's a bit nerve-wracking for everyone, but the way we're going now, isn't it? We have to ask. We know if Duck L'Orange had his way, that would be a no. Although he has seen from the opinion polls that no one wants him to stay on for a third term. You wouldn't believe who's shown up again. It's a bit dicey. It's a bit like this. I don't want to spook anyone, but it's a bit like that. Why am I saying that? There we are. Duck L'Orange shows up again, but it's not just him. Remember, it's the millionaires and the billionaires that are supporting him. Yeah, these are all you know your Peter Thiels, the billionaire class, all of those people that stood up there in the inauguration. Remember them? Your Jeff Bezos, your Zuckerbergs, the others. Your Elon Musks, and of course Duck L'Orange. Yeah, they're in it for the money. I think the Trump family has enriched itself by 2.5 billion so far. Someone was saying somewhere it was more than 2 billion. Let's put it that way. Anyway, money. Yeah, that's what they're all about. In terms, and they want to use their money to influence the elections because they want it to suit them. Anguish. Yeah, anguish. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be dicey, folks. Dicey. I mean, look at all the rules that they're getting rid of. They're certainly going to try and rig it. Certainly going to try and rig it. And there's more evidence of that here. Do you see the moon? Yeah, nothing is clear by moonlight. Now, of course, I would love to be giving you guys more positive things, but as you know, I read the cards as they come. And as you know, I read the astrology and I'm like, woof, yeah. So here, they're going to try and add confusion, subterfuge. They're going to be doing slippery, slimy things, yeah? Like this lobster crawling out here. Wow, 768 of you with me right now. Thank you so much, guys. So they're going to try lots of dodgy things. However, look, the world is watching. So it shows that the world is also a factor in these. I mean, could it be that there may be some international body that comes in to make sure they don't cheat? Wow, can you imagine that? If that had to be the case in America, that there was some kind of international, wow. Maybe, guys, because the way things are going, wouldn't surprise me. And then look, we get the judgment card. So I think if there are elections, It will be a massive judgment on the GOP and all that stuff. And they know it. They know it already. Apparently, they're saying privately, but of course, they're too spineless to say publicly, that they think Trump's tariffs are madness. Yet they go along with it. So I'm going to say midterms, maybe. But they're going to try and sabotage. Yeah. They're going to do some kind of skullduggery, which is of course going to bring a lot of people anguish, because the rich want to have their way. But there could be an international element here. Could there be an international element that comes in to ensure fair and safe elections? And then we have the judgment card. So it's going to be a massive proclamation. And America will be 250 years old as well. Wow. Big cards, huh? Big cards. Thanks for asking the question. And let's see. Oh, we've reached an hour. Look, maybe we leave it there. And then let's finish with this little thing here. Talon Young says, Trump has begun saying, Riley, oh, they knew who they were voting for. I told them. Ah, of course. He's right. Unfortunately. Remember, Trump kept reciting that snake poem? I always thought he meant himself. Diabolical indeed. Yes. So the deep irony, and I just want to leave with this closing thought. The deep irony is this. We know Duck Larange is a pathological liar. We know this. But on the election campaign, he told the truth more than he's used to. He did tell these people what he was going to do. He did. And we warned them. Yeah. And they didn't listen. So, yeah, they can't really argue with it. They just have to kind of suck it up. Anyway, I will leave it there. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me this evening. 770 of you joining me in the chat. I might keep it to a Friday. I just feel like I need to have a little breather between that, Hogelish, which is a big show, and then to do the next day. Sometimes I feel a bit tired. So I think it's good to have a day in between. And I think I'll also do my reflections on Sunday. I think I'll do that on Sunday because it gives the week, it makes sense, doesn't it, to have it at that end of the week. And Sunday is a good day for reflection and stuff like that. So anyway, I hope you found the show interesting. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Keep going, folks. Keep going. At least we have a strong Pope there. And I'm sure he's going to make his views known. He has a strong chart. There's a lot of nobility in his chart. And I think he will speak up. He has a lot of courage and he has a lot of virtue as well. So Pope, everyone here, whether Catholic or not, is wishing you the best because, my God, don't we need it right now? Anyway, I will leave it there. Bye-bye, everyone. And you will see me probably on my next Reflections show. All right. Big love. Bye-bye.